going to a few big fish here. We got Travis Dye. We'll get to him in just a second. More immediate is Shane Lee from Alabama, who was the 5th rated linebacker in the country coming out of high school in 2019, and a top selection to Alabama at the time. But now he comes to USC.
Yeah, so I mean, with the Shane Lee pickup in the portal over the weekend, I mean, the big thing there, freshman, so like he has 3 years of eligibility. So like this is not a 1 year rental. This is a long-term investment, or at least, of course, USC hopes to be able to have him for at least the next 2 years, if not three. And that's just the kind of thing that points to USC really entrenching itself as a powerhouse program. If there are going to be wobbles, it's going to be 2022, because by 2023, to have Shane Lee in his second year with the program, obviously, if everything goes according to plan, you're just going to have a solidified, experienced defense. You're going to get guys who have had a lot of snaps at the highest level. You're not just, entrusting newbies to it, uncertain, unknown quantities. No, with Shane Lee, certainly after this 2022 season, assuming that Lincoln Riley and USC can retain him for 2023, I mean, you're already seeing the ceiling rise for this program 2-3 years down the line. You can just see it all in motion.
Take a guy like Shane Lee and his journey at Alabama. This speaks to the overload of talent at Alabama and the layers of depth here. So Shane Lee this past season got into 13 games, but mostly on special teams, backup role, 6 tackles. That's it. 2 years ago in 2019, he was pressed into duty because Dylan Moses and Joshua McMillan got hurt. So 2 guys get hurt. He gets pressed into duty, 86 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, a pick for a team that finished by Alabama standards, not good at 11-2, number 8 in the country. But that's the type of productivity he can supply for a top 10 team in the country.
Absolutely, and we know how Nick Saban operates. That he's able to cycle these guys through the special teams unit and backup roles, and this is why you play those games against the Citadel the week before the Iron Bowl, to get those guys further down the depth chart, those repetitions, so that when they go into spring ball for the next season, they've had some familiarity, and then they work their way up the ladder within the Alabama system, so that when they get their chance to start, when they're called upon to start, they're ready. They know what to expect. They've been in games. So the fact that Shane Lee has been through that process of development under Nick Saban, but because there's the glut of talent and there's the desire to go somewhere else to make sure that he gets a full amount of snaps, a full amount of playing time. But boy, isn't that exactly what you're looking for if you're Lincoln Riley and USC? Let's keep in mind too that Clay Helton was, an atrocious developer of talent. So Nick Saban, exactly the opposite. So USC's kind of catching Shane Lee just at the beginning of his player development arc, the beginning of an upswing, and now you get to coach him up after he's had that foundational experience under Saban. I mean, that's hitting the sweet spot. It's a great transfer portal pickup for USC.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. So he's proven that he can do it as a regular on the big stage in the SEC.